Hello everybody. Welcome to this session. Welcome to this live. Live. We are back with Google Cloud. We are back with the introduction to Google Cloud. This time it's a little advanced. We're going to go in depth of Google Cloud. So we have Rushab with us, who is the co-founder of Agrahyah Technologies and Avaz.com. Agrahyah is the leading voice agency in India and preferred partners with Amazon, Alexa, and Google Assistants. These products include ConPro.ai and an ML embedded conversational commerce engine. And obviously, Avaz.com, the largest podcast network in Indian languages. He is the Google Cloud expert of he's the Google developer expert of Google Cloud and also mentors startups at Google for Google Startup Program, aka Google Launchpad. So I welcome Rushab for this session. We can,
Thank you.
yeah.
Thank you, Rituja. Thanks for inviting me. And I'm very happy to be here interacting with all the students. And so today, like just to give you a brief about the talk that I'll be doing. So basically, we'll start with the Google Cloud for India. I'm sure yesterday Vijeta told you about what Google Cloud is and what are the different features and products of Google Cloud platforms available. So I'll go little deep, or I'll just give another angle to it from the India's perspective. Since like we are in India and India is a growing IT ecosystem. So I just wanted to give you some insights from the India's, like if you're developing a product for India, then what sort of tools and offerings that Google Cloud has. That's something I wanted to talk about, and also then touch base a little bit about the BigQuery, because there's a lot of data which is growing, and organizations are looking for organized data and derive some sort of value out of those existing data. And BigQuery makes it really easy and possible. So we'll talk about that as well. And in the end, I'll introduce you to AutoML, which is one of the amazing product of Google Cloud as I feel into ML space. So if you are very new to the machine learning environment, or if you are working on some projects into ML, this would be definitely interesting stuff for you. So let's start with, and yeah, in case if you have any questions, you can put it in comment section so that I'll be happy to help you in between. If you have any doubts in between, you want to say something, and yeah, in case, feel free to put it in the comment section. All right, so when I when I said about the Google Cloud platform, of course that what is cloud and what SaaS, what is a software as a service, what is a platform as a service, or what is the infrastructure as a service rather. But I see Google Cloud platform. In fact, there was a recent comment from the Google Cloud India, and he said that in India people are not looking for infrastructure as a service, but rather they're looking for a solution as a service, or the platform as a service. And that's what something that people in India are looking for, where they want to build some robot solution on the existing infra which is available without having any kind of dependency on the infra management and that sort of a thing, right? So let's understand how and why cloud works in India. So if you see these states, India is a mobile first country, right? We are smart, like more than 700 smartphone users in India. We use like 1.7 exabyte of data per month. I mean, that's like huge data, and this has been increasing. This is like some last year state before COVID. Like after COVID, it has changed. We all know, video is huge in India. So the amount of data that has been consumed throughout this video data consumption is very, very huge. Apart from them, there is like on an average, a person spend like uses around 1.3 GB of data per day. I mean, that's huge. I mean, we all know like Jio is having like 2 GB data per day, like 1.5 GB data, and that is like not enough, right? So that kind of uses of internet has been happening in the country, and that is something. Just imagine, if you're building some solution with that sort of a large audience and a huge demographic, what sort of backend or the infrastructure that you should need. Like if you're building some app, let's say if you're building basic, and if you're expecting a million user to come on the app, I'm sure you need to plan the backend infrastructure, that how would you handle those 1 million users if they come every day on your application. also, let's say sometime you have 1 million, sometime, and you never know like which thing goes viral or which thing kind of becomes popular, and then 1 million becomes 5 million another day. So how would you scale up or even scale down, like when you don't need that sort of resources? So all this is possible through cloud, and that's why uh, for a country like India, the cloud plays a major role in digitalization and building some robust, global scale or global level of applications. And why GCP helps you in that? It's very simple answer to it, because GCP, of course, first thing, it's a serverless, so you know what serverless means, right? You don't have to manage anything on from the hardware side or from the infra side. It's all taken care by the GCP, so you only focus on your application, on your code. It's cost effective, of course. Like when you're building a solution at a scale, you need to think about the cost that you will be paying for it. Again, scalability is something which is very important, and I'll take you some one of the example of our own product later. But when you don't know like when you will have 1 million users on your app, or when you will have like 1,000 users. So you need that kind of scalability so that you don't pay more for unnecessary resources that you have allotted. Of course, machine learning is like in now, you can't. We have seen a lot of this uh, startups or even the application using the machine learning or the AI to build. And to make it simplify, Google Cloud has some amazing products which you can use without having too much of technical knowledge about the ML. Like learning more or TensorFlow, you can use some basic ML tools available within GCP, and start building your ML model. You have data analytics, of course, like a lot of data has been collected and all data needs to be analyzed. We all know about it, right? So all this thing, like, everything under one space. And that's what something I like about the GCP a lot, that, you have everything under one roof. So when I say everything, it's like, you connect everything. Like, for example, if you're using a G Suite, or if you're building a assistant, or if you're using a mobile application, you're using Firebase database, or you're using Firebase authentication for your user login systems, and also you need a lot of analytics. And at the end of the day, and all this, so you can use Firebase analytics or store, or you can use BigQuery. Eventually, you visualize your data in Data Studio. We'll see all this in future, but I'm just saying, like, just think of it as a one single ecosystem where everything about the ecosystem is connected. Your Android, your Chrome, you're using Google Maps, or your G Suite, the work environment, and your cloud platform. So everything is interconnected in the single environment, and that is something I really love about you know GCP. I'll tell you how we are using it. But so in India, again, like, because when you are building in India, you know how important it is to stay, like, in today's world, the connectivity, or the latency has to be as minimum as you can. So how would you keep the keep your experience faster, or deliver the content, or to your end user faster? Let's say if you're building something for India and you want to deliver it as fast as you can, so that's where the cloud region in India makes a lot of sense. So you can pay in Indian rupees. There are two regions, so there are two, I mean, when I say region, it's basically sort of data centers. There are two data centers available in India. One is in Mumbai, other is in Delhi, with three zones. Delhi was just launched a couple of months back, and of course you can pay in Indian rupees. And how do you choose that? So when you create, I'm sure yesterday you saw that, like, how when you create an instance, you ask you for the region. So you can select Asia South 1, which is Mumbai, or Asia South 2, which is Delhi. So it makes your application really fast if you are very close to your consumers. So how do we, or what we are doing? So right, we run an application, podcast application called Avaz.com. Now Avaz as a platform is available on multiple endpoints. Like, so user can uh, listen to our content, audio content, on Android, on iOS, or even on Indus OS, or you can be on Fire Stick if you are on Geo Setup Box. You can be on Ola Play. I mean, there are multiple endpoints where you can consume the same application and the same content. And how does that help? Like, so we use Google Cloud as a backend, and these are all the services you see on the right side, like, that we use to power this seamless experience across different platforms. So whether it's your own iOS, Android, or Geo Setup Box, or even Amazon Fire Stick, doesn't matter if you're listening to Spotify. Everything comes from the single backend. And that's the beauty that we have. So what are the different tools? Like, for example, we use Kubernetes engine because we have a microservice architecture in the backend. We use App Engine, we use Cloud CDN because we need to stream audio faster to our listeners. So, like, if you can try this application, you would know that how fast the audio streams. So we use Cloud CDN. We use cloud storage to store the data and the files that we have. We use cloud SQL, we use cloud functions, we use BigQuery to analyze the data in the backend and what people are listening to, what sort of user base we have and what they are doing on the app and all these things. We use Firebase for authentication, so your login is very seamless. We use Firebase for storing the data. We use Firebase Analytics. We use Cloud DNS because we have multiple services running in the backend. So all this, as an end consumer, you would see just one app that is being running, but we use multiple clouds. And the best part is we use everything under one single ecosystem, right? That's the best thing about like about the Google Cloud, that you have one platform and all the services on the one platform, and you can do multiple things through it. So that's it. So primarily, you already know this. There are the four major parts. Usually we say that the cloud one is the compute part, other is the storage where you have to store the data. Another one which is very important, which is AI, which I like the most about the Google Cloud platform because they have some amazing AI tools which you can start using from today. Like trust me, I'm sure you might be wondering that you guys are like very new to AI or you don't know. I mean, AI seems like artificial, like very heavy word. Like you sometimes feel like it has to be something very geeky coding sort of thing, but it's not true anymore. Like you can use some amazing products and start building your products from today itself. We'll talk about it later. There's a data and analytics, of course, which is like something the backbone of any business nowadays or any startups nowadays. So that is something very important for you to understand how you can use your data and analyze it in a very simple way. Like I'll show you some demo, like one demo today about BigQuery. You can you can do it yourself in a day. So that's about Google Cloud Platform. So when let's talk about one of my favorite product, which is BigQuery. So like as I said, it's very important that now for everyone or any tech company or even non-tech company to understand the data. Data is a new oil, as they call it, right? So how do you make the most out of data? Is only data is of no use. Like you keep storing millions of data, but if you don't utilize it, you don't analyze it, it is not going to help. So how do you do that, right? And that's where this BigQuery helps you. So what does BigQuery do? It helps you analyze, it helps you organize your data first of all, and then process it and extract the right information out of it. And that's what people are like organizations are looking for right now. So in a definition way, BigQuery is a fully managed data scale, low cost enterprise data warehouse analytics. I mean, that's a definition, but in a simple way, BigQuery is just an query engine, or it's rather than just a query engine which can help you analyze, store and analyze your data. I mean, that's the simple way. And it's not like just data. You can have like trillions of rows of data or like petabyte scale size of data. It can be that huge, and you can run the queries very quickly and faster. And again, it's a serverless. So when it's serverless means you don't have to manage anything from the backend. It's all taken care by the platform. You just have to deploy your application and queries and work on it. It's that simple. So before we can I take you to some technical details of BigQuery. I will first like you to show you some demo around it. Can you see my screen? I don't know. Okay, let me share my screen again so that you can see my. Yeah. So So you go to Cloud Console first, and then like you saw yesterday, how can you access your console? You can create a project first. I'm sure you guys can see my screen, right? I don't know. Just let me check. Just let me know if you can see this screen properly, because if I open like this, it multiplies the screen. Yeah. Right. So this is the Google Cloud Platform Console, as you would have seen this, and I've created a simple project for today's demo.
Rushabh, can you hear me?
So like this is like how the Cloud Console is, and when you go to BigQuery, you can go navigate through. And the best part about the Cloud Console is everything is GUI, so you can use command line as well as APIs. But to just start, you can use console to the GUI to kind of access all the Google Cloud Platform services. So when you get to go to BigQuery, this is how it looks like initially. There is an editor which is a query editor, so you can write any SQL queries here and run. And here are basically the projects of the BigQuery or the data sets that you can call it as. There are and it's very easy to add data. Let's say, for example, if you have some data in any format, like it can be in table, it can be in CSV file, or it can be in any sort of data set on cloud, you can add it. Or you can use public data set also, which is very important. Sometimes if you want to build your own ML model, then you can use all this existing. So you can go to explore data sets, and you will see, you go to Google, you will come to the Google Marketplace, which is amazing. I usually like, and it has lot of public data set. Like you can see there are some 226 open public data sets to be used. Like you have data around cryptocurrency, you have data around weather, you have data around census, a lot of data. Just to try, I mean, this amazing thing, where you can use existing data sets to just select and pick it. Like there are categories, like you can see the data for economic, education, financial data, healthcare data. There are a lot of machine learning related data is available. So all this is like just available. You just select it and you start using it. And so let me just show you how you do that. So you just create one project. You can enter the project name called BigQuery public data, and you would see all the data that is available. All the data sets that are available that we saw right now here. Let's see if I want to. It's very simple. Data set is nothing but the collection of each tables. So for example, if I select this Bitcoin and blockchain data, there are two tables that I can see. So if I click on the transactions, let's see if I just hold on, I can see the schema of the table, right? This is how the table is. You can preview the table. So this is how the table looks like. It will load all the data. These are the these are the data into the tables. So like I'm sure you all are familiar with the uh, SQL tables. It's exactly the same. Like we just have this thing. We can see the schema, like what are the columns are there, what are the type of it. You can add the description and other things. You go to details, you will see the size of the table. Now, so if you see this table size, it's like you can see this is 587 GB of data. And if you see 300, like 30, 340 million rows which are part of this data table, like so imagine the scale and the data size that which is available here. You can select the data. Location region is very important, because if you are running a query and product in some region, then it has to be in the same region. Or this is right now it's US multi-region, so it's okay, but it's very important when you select all this. So I'm just giving you an overview. I'm not going too much technical into it, but you can just imagine, like this is like uh, almost 600 GB of data and some 340 millions of rows into the data, and that sort of database is available, and you can just run a query in the second in such a huge database, and that's the whole power of the BigQuery. You can just go here, write the query, and you can run any query. Like if you want to select something, like you'll see the preview query over here. You can see right now I have limited to 1000 because you don't want to run this entire 300 millions of row. It will take some time to run this query. So, but this is how you can just run any query to this any data set, and it can be as complex and as big as it can be. So this is one of the way to use the public data sets. I just showing that. How would you import your own data set? I mean, let's see. So first, very simple thing is like you just have to create one project which you already created. In that, you just have to. I've just created one demo, but I'll delete it and I'll just show you how you create your own data set. So this will remove the existing data set from the project. So now there is no data set over here. So then we can. There are multiple ways, like as I told you, right? There is a way you can explore public data set, or there is any external data source that you want to pull out. Like for example, if you want to extract the data from Google Analytics or your YouTube Analytics, if you're running a YouTube channel, you want to understand the data better, like what sort of viewership you have, and what sort of users are coming on, what is the repeat rate, how much time they're spending on your videos and all this. So you can select all these existing Google data sources, and you can import that all these data sources here and analyze. So I'll just create a new data set just to show you simple. So I'll just pull a day. Just give any data set ID or the name. I can have the expiry also. I can just create the data, or I can select the location. As I said, it depends. Like either you keep it multi-region, you keep it default as per your project, or you can choose from the available data points that are available, right? So as I said, South Asia one is Mumbai, which is the Indian data set. Because again, you have to remember the prices would vary based on the region you select. So you have to be very careful on that part as well. So I keep it default as of now as my project. I just create a data set. And you can see the data set is created, but there are no tables or no data into the data set. So how do you add the data set? As I said, like there are multiple ways to add, or you can just import any data that you have. For example, I open this data set. You can see this is just a data set with the regional, but there is no data into the data set, right? So here you can create a table. It's very simple. Either you can create an empty table, as I said, or you can import your data from any existing Google Cloud storage. Let's say if you have a SQL or a DB file on your cloud storage which you want to import, or you have a Excel sheet on your drive you want to import, or you have a big table. So these are multiple ways of data, like data that you can. So let's try with uploading some CSV file. So you can try using JSON or ORC or and import just a basic CSV file. So I have a 50,000 sales record CSV file, which is like a very small file, which has a 50,000 sales data. It's a public data set I downloaded. In which project you want and what is the data set that we have created. So it will come under this per project, and this data set available. Or you can create a new project and write the name of the table. Let's say I write sales data. It's very important if you want to kind of copy the exact CSV with on the table, so it will convert all the columns into the table format. So if you select, it will be the existing schema that you are using in your table. Or when you CSV, that table will be created with that particular schema only. So you just select that. There are multiple advanced options available where you can can allow the error, or you can use this. Now because we are using CSV, we are using comma, but that could be tab or pipe or anything like that. And you can have a custom encryption key also. Let's say you want to secure your data, and so there is a Google managed key which is very easy to use. But if you want to build your own, or if you want to use your own custom managed key, you can use Google Key Management and create your custom key and use it over here. I'll keep it default right now. I just click on the create table, and you can see the job is created. The data is, and you can see like in just few seconds, it created a table and imported all the data from the CSV that we had. So if you see, this is the schema. Okay, so basically these are, I can show you the CSV as well so that you can basically understand. I mean, you can see like how much time does it take to even open this CSV with 50,000 records. But it just got imported in like a few seconds, right? Yeah, I will try to open it. Let's see if it opens up. So that just you can understand that how the data looked in the CSV now when you import it, how it got converted into the table. Okay, by the time it opens up. So these are all the data columns of the data that you can see. So because I told it's a sales data, it's a region-wise data. There's a country, and then there's a sales channel, how the order had come, number of units were sold in that particular order, the price, the cost, and how it was the revenue. So that's what the data is all about, right? So it is still taking time. If you can see, like, it's a huge data, but when you import, it's like just few seconds. So here, all the details you would see. You can have a table expiry also if you want to delete the table after putting that, and you can preview. See, this is the data that is available. So you can see 50,000 rows over here, and then there is the data. So you can just now once you import it, that's very easy, right? You can just query this data. And let's say if I want to, uh, you know, if I want to know that what was the sales in particular region, I can just write a query and run it, and it will show. Like, or if I want to know, okay, let's try some queries, right? So there are, like you can see, there are multiple countries over here, right? So if I can just, I want to know, okay, what was the sales in a particular country? Let's say it's a country called Chad, right? Or what was the sale of meat in particular as a particular product, if I want to know. And then of course you can run like any SQL query based on your this thing. So what I'll do is I'll just edit this existing query. Okay. Yeah, so this was the CSV file that we had, which was imported, and you can see all this data which is available, and we've just got imported into SQL BigQuery. Right. Okay, I don't know, I'm not able to type because of screen share. Yes, right. So I think I'm not able to type it because I connected external device. Let me try just once again. Okay, let me just anyway. So this is something that you can write any query. You can save the query. You can create your own views. You can schedule that. You can compose any query basically. That's like how simply works. Compose a new query basically. It's not typing over here, but yeah. You can't run this because this is the wrong query. Right. So yeah, you can see like this is how you can export or import any data. You can use schema. You can use you can export. Like for example, if you have just I want to visualize this data, right? I have got some data, and I want to get it with the graphical format. So you can just export. Go to Data Studio. Just select Data Studio, and it will bring you to the Data Studio. Now, Data Studio is a visualization tool where you can create your own custom reports from the any data that you have. So it's just like you can create your charts, your tables, or you can visualize data in a particular format that you want. So let's say now you see this, like I just clicked on this export data. I came here, and let's say if I want to now visualize this data, let's say is a region wise. I want to know that what are the sales in Asia. I just select, and if I can like, just select any sort of chart pattern, so it will see this is how it will give me. So my sales coming like which is like 14% from Asia, from Europe it's 25% plus, and all this. So this is how easy it is. Like you just select the chart and it will visualize the data in the way you want. You can still further go. So you can go with region wise. You can go with cost. You can draw something. You can derive the profits. You can like you can basically get any sort of insights that you want to derive from your existing database, and it's very easy. It's already like it's just click away and you can do it. I mean, that's easy. It is like if you want to see that okay, the highest sales is in South Africa, and then followed by Europe, and then Asia, and it goes down to North America. And you can just put any sort of numbers, metrics. You can change the dimension from region to, let's say you want to have it country wise, for example. See, now we have it country-wise data visualized. I mean, that's so beautiful, right? Or you can put it in map as well, and that's very interesting. If you select, you can select the map template over here. So these are all pre-templates which are available, and then it will placed based on the country-wise. You just have to map it with that, and the order ID and country will be placed on that map. Or you can see this is how the sales is highest in Africa, in which country of Africa. You can just move around with on this, and so I mean you would have understood, right, how easy it is to kind of visualize that data using BigQuery. There are so many things that you can do with BigQuery in terms of like if you go here, there is AutoML, also AutoML tables which you can like again like you will build, right? So yeah, that's about BigQuery. Let me just take you back to the presentation. All right. Yeah. So we saw like how easy it is to use BigQuery, and do the basic stuff with your data where you analyze and get insights out of your data. Let's understand that how BigQuery basically performs, and it's like we saw right imports like millions of we saw some sample data set where there are like millions of rows in particular table, and you can run query on top of it, and that can be analyzed in seconds. It is that fast. I mean, you could have run some query, but it might take some time, so you can do that. You can import your data from standard SQL, or you can use any third-party tools like Tableau or Looker or any data web UIs to analyze your data. There are data partition tables. You can have it from external sources, like I told you. You can have the real-time data also through the API. You can push that, and if you can analyze the data in real time as well, so that's also possible. You can build multiple workflows around it that you want. As we saw, like we can have different ways to ingest data into the BigQuery or the cloud storage. So you can use Google Cloud Storage. We saw that how we can, we just saw that how we imported the data from CSV, but there are multiple ways where you can upload your data. And see, this is how it takes like it imports at a speed of 1 lakh or 100,000 K rows per second, and that's like the real time analysis. It's not something I'm talking about the import, but if you're streaming some data into real time, it can import up to 1,000 rows per second, and that's the kind of speed that it works on. You can use data flow as well to get the data from HTTP application. There's a BigQuery transfer service. You can use web, CLI, REST APIs, multiple ways. Like so wherever the data is, you can just easily, quickly import that into the data. Why it's so important? Because It has 99.9 SLA. It's encryption. We saw about encryption, right? So it has the data is encrypted, so you don't have to worry about the security. There are different IAM roles that you can define. You can have admin role, you can have user-based role based on the data access that you want to give within your team or the organization. So you can use that as well. You can have multiple geographies. We saw about that, and then there are different clients that you can connect big data with. Pricing again compared to the kind of data, it's very cheap. There is it's like, if you can see, it's like 0.02 cents per GB per month. That's the sort of data, and it's a pay as you go model, like, right? So you don't have to. There is a flat pricing as well, where you commit certain sort of uses and then you get a flat price. But that's something that if you have huge data and you know that you're going to use certain sort of resources, that time I think you can use again first TB of free. You can try this with the free tier or something like that. And yeah, so again, see, when we say about the BigQuery, we have to understand one thing very important: what is the BigQuery and how it is different from any other data store which is available, right? So BigQuery is not a traditional RDB or relational database system like how we use any SQL, MySQL data or SQL data. It is not that, because it's like something that you use to derive from the existing data. You don't need to store the data, so you can't just think it as like storage. And then because it's like and also it's not a operational data store, so basically uh, it's not something that geared like capturing live data and then update. So if you are basically running application, if you were to run a basic update, delete, add, edit system, then it's not something that you should like look for. And it's not on-premise solution. So there are certain data that you want to keep it on-premise on the application. So that's why it's not something that you should look for. But yeah, it is a cloud-based solution, so you don't have to worry about the backend. And where you can learn more about BigQuery. So of course you can start searching by BigQuery on any of topic, or there is a documentation available on the Google Cloud Platforms website where you can get everything from the quick lab to tutorials, and then a lot of the API resources and guides to help you learn more about BigQuery. Uh, that's how you can just go to Google Cloud resources and you'll get a lot of documentation, videos to and like stuff around demos, quick labs about it. Now, like we saw about the BigQuery overview. Now let me just take you through one of my like a product of my interest on cloud, which is Cloud AutoML. Now, what's AutoML? Like you have heard about ML, but AutoML is something very different. And the best part about it is that you can create high quality custom ML models with minimum bare minimum expertise and efforts. It's all very easy. So you don't have to be expert in ML to use this, and that's what something I like the best about when you want to start something in ML, you can start using AutoML. So how it is different, right? So if you are a core application developer, you probably use the machine learning APIs. We know that, I think Vijeta also spoke about some APIs available on Google Cloud, like Vision API and text to speech API and that sort of APIs. So you can use that APIs as well. And if you are like data scientist or the core ML, you can use Cloud ML Engine to build your own custom models. But if you are like if you are not something that okay, you know that you want to build your own, like don't want to put too much technical and don't want to get into initial level of like machine learning, building your model now, so you can use Cloud ML. And if you are none of all these three, then like if you think that you want to do something really big in life, then right, TensorFlow is something where you can build something from your scratch. So that's where you can use the TensorFlow for your ML DIY. But why AutoML? As I said, like it trains custom model, and you can use the existing data and build your own custom model and learning model so fast and so quick. So you can use console, the GCP console, to build your own model. So you don't need to be like so much of coding expert to use it. Like how we saw about the BigQuery, right? There was not a single line of code we wrote while we imported the data, query the data, or even visualize the data using the data studio. And then using that, you can generate high quality training data as well. So that's something which is very interesting, and that's what something I really like. So what are the products available in AutoML? So you saw about the video intelligence API or the vision API or the natural language API, right? So all this, when you're not using the Google Cloud APIs for all this, you can use AutoML products for this. So AutoML Vision gives you a ready solution, for your Vision API, or there is AutoML tables which can help you analyze the data based on, like for example, we imported a data in a table. Let's say if you want to convert that into AutoML table, you can just create a table and then try to predict something. Let's say if you have a like we saw about the sales table that we have, just imagine if you want to predict certain sales in a certain region, you can use AutoML table, and you can just quickly build a basic prediction model using it, all using GUI without writing much of the code, or even translation API and that sort of thing. So these are all options available. How AutoML works basically is very simple. You just put a training data to it, import that data, and the AutoML will take care of the training the model, deploying the model, and generate that particular predictions. And you can extract those predictions to the REST API. So it's that easy. You just put the data, AutoML will do everything for you. You don't have to build a custom model. You don't have to train the data set, or you don't have to write code, around in TensorFlow or something where you can build, where you have to build your own ML algorithms. It's all taken care by AutoML, and whatever the predictions that you generate out of this, you can just access it simply using any REST API. So it is that simple. So for example, let me give you an example, right? So let's say if you want to identify these characters. So if you are so using the Vision API, what it will give you a basic generic information like, okay, this image has a hair, it's a facial, there are facial hair, there's a beard, the image is of a human, and there is a fur. So this is something that you get when you use Vision API. Then again, you have to create a custom label and import custom data so that okay, now this is not something that you are looking for. We want to know who is that person is, or you would rather get more details about it, right? So when you want to train this, using the API on custom data, like you have to write the entire training sample code to kind of analyze this, but you don't have to do that in AutoML. The same image, if you pass to AutoML without writing a single line of code, when you put that image, see now this kind of results you get. So that knows, okay, this image is from the Game of Thrones, this is Night's Watch, and then related keywords like, okay, this is Kit Harington, Jon Snow, all that thing. So you can imagine, like now, like that how AutoML works, and with that too, without writing any code. So it's that simple. You can try this AutoML. I just wanted to show you one demo. I don't know if anyone of you are cricket fan, but there was a model that was built using AutoML to predict the fall of a wicket. Like imagine, like if you're watching cricket, which is like you don't know, like, okay, when will this, what are the chances of the wicket falling in the next match, or in the next over or next ball. But using the AutoML, there was a model which was built, and it predicted that, okay, there is a chances of falling a wicket in the next 5 minutes, and there was some million the existing data, previous data of the match, and the teams were imported. Let's see this demo.
Yes, yes. Oh, siren given immediately. Oh, what a catch! She said that he's taking the catch. Oh, they like that too. And Paul Wilson says yes. Oh, yes. Oh, that's such a hit. That is right out of the ball. Absolutely brilliant. What an advertisement for the game.
Right. So you saw that how they used AutoML to predict that, okay, what are the chances of fall of wicket in the next 5 minutes or the next over, and then they used to send a notification to the users. Okay, there are very high chance, and that kind of engagement increase the viewership of the match, and got the more engagement. So all this was built using it was an experimental project which was built using the AutoML. So you can see the power. You can analyze like multiple endpoints, different sort of data, millions of records, all in a without using much of the code, and that's something which is very interesting. Right. So this is an introduction to AutoML. I mean, we don't have too much time kind of deep dive, but I just wanted to give you some overview so that you know, okay, what is this AutoML is about, and what is BigQuery is all about, and how can Google Cloud as a platform help you, enable and analyze your data. If you want to know more about AutoML, you can go to this resources. There is AutoML podcast available. There are blogs which has some interesting case studies and uh, literature about AutoML. And of course, you can go to cloud.com/AutoML to know more about resources and other quick labs, tutorials, and other stuff. All right, so I think that's it for today. I tried to cover and just give you some sort of sense to what a Google Cloud platform can do, and that is something would help you to kickstart your journey to Google Cloud platform. And I would suggest you guys, like since you are students, so go for cloud certification or quick labs, or there are so much material available on Google Cloud YouTube channel. There are multiple YouTube channels. Subscribe to those channels where you can learn more about it. It's very interesting. If you like to build something, it's very easy. Also, as a student, sometimes we're like scared to kind of this thing, but this console is so easy to use that you don't even need to know too in detailed coding to kind of start using it. Eventually, you can learn it and uh, get more insights and expertise out of it. Yeah. So that's it for now. I would be very happy to take any questions that you have. Okay. Just
Guys, you can type in your questions in the chat box. And thank you so much, Rushab, for this amazing session. It was an amazing session. Like
thank you.
introduction wise, like the basics were pretty clear. So thank you so much.
Yes. Thank you.
And
Thank you.
yeah, thank you guys for sticking along. And also, if you have any questions, you can put it in the chat box. If not, then we can wrap up the session.
And thank you, GDSC CCOEW for inviting me. It was really fun to be here.
It is our pleasure. It is our pleasure. Thank you so much.
Yes.
So I think there are no questions.
Yeah.
I
So
think you were pretty clear.
yeah, maybe I was very clear, or I was like completely out of the context.
No, no, no. You were pretty clear, I think. And also, if you all those people who are watching, if you have any questions, you can maybe message him
Yeah,
on
sure,
LinkedIn.
sure. Yes, yes. You can reach out to me on Twitter, LinkedIn, or anywhere. Like just try to me. That's fine. Yeah.
So yeah, you can reach out to him there also. So on the behalf of Cummins College, GDSC Cummins, I thank you, Rushab, for
Thank you.
taking this amazing session, and also the viewers. Thank you for being an amazing audience. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you.
We'll end the session.
All right. Yeah. Bye. See you.
Bye bye.